Children, come a little closer. I want to ask you something. What do you think $100 can buy today? A few groceries? Maybe a pair of shoes? A short trip to the gas station? Now imagine this. In 1977, that same $100 could fill a kitchen with food, fill a car with gasoline, buy movie tickets, popcorn, and still leave coins in your pocket. But my story is not really about money. It is about a little girl watching her parents stretch every dollar like it was a piece of gold thread. It is about laughter with friends on warm sidewalks, nickels clinking in small pockets, and the quiet strength that grows inside a child during hard times. Because one simple $100 bill taught me something that changed my entire life. It taught me how effort becomes courage, how small sacrifices become big dreams, and how a struggling little girl slowly grew into the grandmother sitting in front of you today. So listen carefully, children, because this story begins with a single trip to the grocery store and $100 that carried more hope than anyone realized. Before we continue this beautiful journey, dear friends, take a moment and think about this question. What could $100 buy you today? A few groceries? A tank of gas? Maybe a small night out? Now imagine traveling back to 1977 when that same $100 could fill a kitchen with food, buy movie tickets, gasoline, and still leave coins for candy in a child's pocket. But this story is not only about money. It is about childhood laughter, hard-working parents, small sacrifices, and the quiet strength that grows during difficult times. If this story reminds you of your own childhood, your grandparents, or the simple days when life felt warmer and slower, please take a second to like this story and share it with someone you love. Your support helps keep these memories alive and allows more people to hear stories that inspire courage, resilience, and hope. Now come closer. Grandma's story is just beginning. Children, come sit close. Grandma will tell you about $100. Not today's 100, the 100 from 1977 America. I was a small girl then. Our town felt heavy with worry. Factories slowed. Parents counted every coin twice. But one Saturday, my mother placed a crisp $100 bill in my father's hand. To me, it looked like a treasure map. First stop was the grocery store. Bread cost 36 cents. Milk was about $1. Eggs were cheaper than your candy today. That single 100 filled our cart. Rice, beans, chicken, apples, flour, sugar, even a small chocolate bar for us children. We laughed while pushing the cart. My friends ran through the aisles like racers. One boy pretended a loaf of bread was a trophy. Then Father bought gasoline, a full tank for around 60 cents a gallon. The car smelled of warm metal and adventure. Later, we visited the cinema. A ticket was about $2. We shared popcorn and giggled at every funny scene. But children, that $100 meant more than food and fun. It carried the weight of my parents' sacrifice. My father worked long hours at a noisy factory. My mother stretched every dollar like it was gold thread. Some nights I heard them whisper, bills on the table, silence in the room. I felt something change inside my small heart. I promised myself to grow strong. Years passed. I studied hard under dim kitchen light. I worked small jobs after school. Life tested me many times, but I remembered that single 100. It showed me how far effort can stretch, just like money once did. Today I look at you, my dear grandchildren. Your laughter sounds like my childhood again. Remember this: wealth is not only money. Resilience fills empty pockets. Hard work builds quiet strength. And love, my children, love turns a simple $100 into a lifetime of courage. And children, the story of that $100 kept teaching me. One summer afternoon, my friends and I gathered near the corner store. The sun warmed the pavement. Our bicycles leaned against a wooden fence. Each of us carried a few coins. 10 cents for candy, 25 cents for a cold soda. We felt rich. We bought licorice sticks and bubble gum. We sat on the curb laughing, trying to blow the biggest bubbles. One bubble burst across my nose. Your great-uncle laughed so hard he dropped his soda. Those small joys cost very little, but they built strong memories. That same week, my father showed me something important. He spread the grocery receipt on the kitchen table. He pointed gently. "Every dollar must work hard," he said. I watched carefully. Chicken for dinner, flour for bread, potatoes from many meals. $100 fed our family for weeks. But one evening, the factory reduced hours. My father walked home slower than usual. The house felt quiet that night. Even the radio sounded softer. Mother still cooked a warm meal. She smiled, though her eyes looked tired. That moment changed me. The next morning, I helped more. I washed dishes without being asked. I carried groceries. I watched my younger brother. Then something surprising happened. My neighbor offered me a small job: watering plants, sweeping the porch. He paid $1 each day. Children, that single dollar felt powerful in my hands, not because of the amount, because I earned it. I saved those dollars in a small metal box. Week after week, it slowly filled. And one day, I did something bold. I walked with my father to the grocery store. I placed $3 on the counter. "I want to help," I said quietly. My father looked at me for a long moment. His eyes shined with pride. And that day, children, I began to understand something deeper. Money was useful, but effort was powerful. After that moment, I looked at the world differently. Every price tag became a lesson. My friends still met after school. We raced bicycles down Maple Street. The wind pushed against our faces. Winner received a 5-cent candy. Loser had to sing loudly on the sidewalk. I lost many races. Your great-uncle made sure of that. But laughter filled the street. Neighbors waved from their porches. One afternoon, we gathered coins from our pockets, nickels, dimes, a few quarters. We counted slowly on the pavement. 42 cents. That was enough for a big bag of popcorn at the small theater. 5 children sharing one bag. The movie flickered on the screen. Our laughter echoed through the seats. But even in those joyful moments, I remembered the kitchen table, the receipts, the quiet talks of my parents. So I kept working. I delivered newspapers at sunrise. Cold air bit my fingers. I stacked boxes at the small market. The owner paid 75 cents an hour. Each coin dropped into my metal box. Clink, clink, clink. Slowly, the sound grew louder. One evening, I opened the box. I counted carefully on my bed. $20. Children, my heart beat fast. To me, that felt like a mountain of wealth. I ran to the kitchen. My mother stood near the stove stirring soup. I placed the bills beside her hand. She paused. She looked at the money. Then she looked at me. For a long second, the room was silent. Then she smiled softly. "My child," she said, "this is not just money." She touched my shoulder gently. "This is courage growing." Those words stayed with me for years, through school, through long nights of studying, because life soon brought a challenge that tested that courage. One autumn morning, the factory closed for several weeks. My father came home earlier than usual. His lunchbox was still half full. The air in the kitchen felt heavy. The radio talked about rising prices, gasoline, groceries, everything slowly climbing. But my mother clapped her hands once and said, "Family meeting." We gathered around the table. Even my little brother tried to sit straight. Mother drew small columns on paper: food, gas, school needs. Then she smiled at us children. "Now we become a team." My brother collected empty soda bottles from neighbors. Each bottle returned 5 cents. I helped Mrs. Carter across the street rake leaves. She paid $2 for a whole afternoon. Children, $2 felt like winning a championship. After work, we still found time for fun. We played tag until sunset painted the sky orange. Sometimes we played a game called Store. We used pebbles as pretend money. I was always the shopkeeper, perhaps practice for life. One chilly evening, Father called us outside. The old car waited in the driveway. He handed me the keys. "Turn the engine," he said. The car started with a proud rumble. He told us the tank was full again. Gas cost less than $1 per gallon then. We drove slowly through town. Street lights glowed softly. Father said something I never forgot. Hard times teach strong lessons. The factory opened again weeks later, our house filled with relief and laughter. But something inside me had changed forever. Work no longer felt like a burden. It felt like building bricks for my future. Soon, another opportunity arrived. Our school announced a small science fair. The prize was $25. Children, my heart raced like a drum because I had an idea, and that idea began one quiet night at the kitchen table. The lamp above me glowed softly. My notebooks were open, pencils rolled across the wood. I decided to build a project about money and effort. I called it How a Dollar Works Hard. I collected old grocery receipts: bread for 36 cents, milk for about $1, gasoline less than $1 per gallon. I drew simple charts with careful hands. $1 could buy many things in 1977, but I wrote something more important beside every price. Someone worked for this. On the day of the science fair, my knees trembled. Tables filled the school gym. Children showed volcano models in plant jars. My board looked simple beside them, but I spoke from my heart. I told the judges about my parents, about the $100 grocery trip, about soda bottles, newspapers, and the metal savings box. The gym became quiet as I spoke. Then the principal stepped forward. He placed a small ribbon on my project. First place, $25. Children, I ran home as fast as my legs could carry me. My breath jumped like a drum beat. My parents stood in the kitchen. I placed the prize money on the table. My father smiled wide. My mother wiped a happy tear. That night we celebrated with homemade pie and loud laughter. Years passed after that moment. Life grew larger and sometimes harder, but the lesson of that $100 stayed with me. Money can stretch, but character stretches further. Hard work builds dignity, kindness builds community, and resilience turns small beginnings into strong futures. So remember this, my dear grandchildren. It is not the size of the dollar that shapes your life. It is the size of your courage, your effort, and your heart.